Hello, and thank you for watching this little video. This is a video response to the Hermit's Cave video entitled Let's Talk Playing Card Divination. I only have one little duck, not seasonal since I'm making this in July, but here he is. Hello. All right. So I was very interested in this subject primarily I got started thinking about this. I'm a relative newcomer. I should stop and wind it back and say I've been studying tarot for a year. So there's a lot that I don't know and a good bit that I do know because I've been pretty serious about my studies. Capricorn here. So I first started thinking about this because I wanted a Wizarding World. I wanted a Harry Potter deck. And there are none available that have clear copyright permission to use the images that I wanted to see. As a creative person, I'm very sensitive to copyright issues. So I thought, well, I know that there's a way to use playing cards, which in the Hermit's Cave video was explained very, very well. Maybe I could pick up a deck of cards and try it. So I did. I picked up this deck, which is from Universal Studios that runs the theme parks. Don't need this. Not successful. And now I'll tell you why it wasn't successful. And it might help other people who are pretty new at this, like I am. So to read a playing card deck used for divination purposes, like a tarot system, you need a good tarot reference. So this is my sort of Bible. This is the one I just keep going to and going to and going to. But you can also use, any of the big names in the field you can use to help you out with this kind of thing. So I'm choosing to show you this one. So first thing you have to know is you have to understand how the playing card suits line up with the tarot suits. So the clubs are going to be swords or fire. The spades, wait, I said that wrong. The clubs are going to be wands or fire. The spades are going to be swords or air. The hearts are going to be cups or water. And the diamonds are going to be earth or pentacles. So once you get that sorted, so that's one piece, and then the other piece is the numerical values. So you take your book, whichever text you're using, and you want to find the section that gives you your elemental readings. And you might want to make a little note or drawing here, like maybe I'm having a hard time remembering, that wands are clubs. So maybe I just am going to draw a little club in here to help me remember, right? So you could make your annotation so it all works for you. So here I've got my notes of what each one of those elemental suits means, their significance. Annabelle Wynn has got a really nice chart. She's got great charts, actually. So I would tab that page, and then I would find numerical associations. So here's the general numerological associations, and then here is numerology and the 4 suits. So this particular chart would be really, really useful if you want to read with a playing card deck. So here is another playing card deck that I had already that I really, really enjoy. It's very small compared to a regular size tarot, right? But it's a lot easier for me to handle because they're just these really thin little cards, and so it's much easier for me to shuffle and handle and make a big spread if I want to. But let's just try how this works. So we're going to grab anything. Oh, sorry, should have talked about the deck. So this is Kiki's delivery service. I found it at a bookstore, I think Barnes & Noble. It's put out by Studio, I think it's Ghibli. There we go. Which is the actual production studio of the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. It's super, super fun. So if you're using a deck like this, and there are a lot of these types of decks that have a story or a world in them, like a Star Wars deck or something, then you're going to look at an image like this, and if you're familiar with the story, you're going to sort of know what that means, what's happening here. So she was frequently a little out of control on her broom. But let's just take a look at this one, since this is the one I pulled. So if you look at the actual image, you see somebody sort of hurtling forward, a little out of control. People are watching and not comfortable, right? And there seems to be a little bit of a problem here with the traffic, perhaps because of what she's done. It's hard to say if you're just looking at the card and you don't know what the story is. So you could read it with your knowledge of the story, or you could just look at the pictures. All the pictures are telling a story. And then the other thing you can do is you say, okay, 8 of spades. So what are spades? Spades are air, swords, and it's the 8. So I'm going to look at my chart. So here's 8. A general numerological association would be justice or judgment. And then I'm going to come over here to swords, and it's imprisonment or restriction. All right, so if you're familiar with tarot, you are imagining that figure with all the swords stuck in the ground around that person. So you could read this in a similar manner. You could see how she's boxed in by these roads, and boxed in by the, or not roads, by the building, and by what's below her, the cars and the people. But she's moving. She can get out of this, right? But, you know, there is that element of justice happening because she got herself into this situation, and it's a sticky one, right? So with a deck like this, you can use it with both the stories as well as the just the straight-on numerological suits or elements and your knowledge of tarot. Now, why does this one not work? This one doesn't work, and I'm just going through this so that when you pick up a deck, you can sort of help yourself say, well, is this going to work or not? Okay, so here we have this situation. So what they've done with this deck is every number has got a character from the story. So their not pick for 9s is Severus Snape. And the numerological significance of 9s is change. Well, you know, that's kind of a stretch of Severus Snape. If you're really familiar with the story, then maybe when you think about Severus Snape, you might think about unrequited love or extreme loyalty to the point of death, and hidden depths and an unknown character, as well as just being like a really difficult person to be around. So it's kind of hard to take that and say, well, that's about change. So you can see how if a figure is chosen like this, it might not work. And then the quotes that go with each one of them, they might not work. So let's just take one. Oh, let's take something different just for the fun of it. Let's take the 4 of Hearts. That's a nice one. You can look at the 4 of Hearts, cups. You don't have to think too hard about that. Dolores Umbridge? Really? For a 4? 4 is, you know, we think of stability with a 4. Dolores Umbridge doesn't really call that into you. And then the quote on this, using spells, well, I can't imagine why you would need to use spells in my classroom. Just doesn't work, right? So you could take a deck like this and maybe use it for an oracle deck, but it just doesn't translate for a tarot playing card thing. So that is my take on this, and my take on it is this is a fun way to read. You should definitely go back and look at the Hermit's Cave video to see how it works with just a kind of a pip deck that doesn't have a lot of images or stories. And all you really need is a good tarot textbook and a few decks, and fool around with them, and I just think it's a really fun thing to do. Did not solve my problem of needing a Harry Potter deck, but you know, maybe J.K. Rowling will go ahead and dip her toes into this at some point, or whoever owns the story at this point. So thank you for watching this video, a little bit of a ramble there. I just find it so much fun learning about tarot and having this sort of online YouTube, Instagram community where we can have real conversations and explore ideas. It's really enriched my life. I hope it's enriched yours, and I wish you all the best, and take care, be well, and see you on the YouTubes. Bye.